I'm 15, running 15.
Looking 5 years or 10 years younger than I am, so good job at that.
Very important to feel confident and feel good. When a child is born, it's like even crawling and looking at a more beautiful picture, the child will automatically crawl towards that picture.
I'm 36 now. How do I stop aging?
Aging is a process. You can't sort of stop aging. And also with aging, what happens is a lot of changes occur in our faces, right? But me being a dermatologist, my husband being a bariatric and a GI surgeon, I talk about sugar. When we say sugar, we say no organic jaggery, honey and coconut sugar and all sugars. It will increase the process of inflammation. Be a perfectionist. So that's what Dad taught me. He was an engineer. He would go to work once in a week. Remaining 6 days, he was drunk. So at one point, as I grew up, I realized that I need closure. That was a moment for me. So I called up Dad. So Dad was living with me. And I went on like this, and he did one thing, you drink. So I got my closure and we had an amazing relationship after that, right? So you need to give them love and pure love.
Yeah.
And understand.
Dr. Jaishree has helped countless individuals achieve their best skin health. She's not only on the panel of the certified cosmetic dermatologist. With 24 years of experience, she is a specialist with cutting-edge treatments. I mean, these are things that we haven't even seen, and machines that are probably top-notch, because she showed me one machine which was almost worth what, 1.5 crores? Yeah. So her procedures or her techniques range from anti-aging, acne, treating scars, pigmentations, lasers and fillers and Botox and stuff like that. But mainly it's about how well she's preserved herself. And that is what we all want to do as we all are growing day by day. So I'm not going to use the word growing old. But yeah, she has actually made it easy for people to grow young, if that's even a thing. So Dr. Jaishree is also a celebrated TEDx speaker and the author of 3 bestsellers, not 1, not 2, but 3 bestsellers, and all of them have something or the other said by Mr. Bachchan in it. Her holistic approach combines with the latest medical advancement with a touch of the traditional care, ensuring that her patients not only look but also feel their absolute best. Today, she's here to share her expertise, her answers to her personal struggles, her professional struggles, how she's made it so big, and just a few of the other questions that people ask her on Instagram, because that's what a third book is all about. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Jaishree. Welcome, Dr. Jaishree. Can you tell all our viewers, our listeners, on all the multiple platforms that we are available on, what is it that you're doing? Why do you do it? And why did you choose to do it?
Thank you for having me, first of all. I am a cosmetic dermatologist and
Okay.
I've been practicing for 24 years now. Started off as a dermatologist and super specialized in aesthetics, and went on to treating people with acne, vitiligo, hyperpigmentation, hair fall, also eczemas and psoriasis, and then went on to aesthetics where, making you look like a better version of yourself is what I may say. And also with aging, what happens is a lot of changes occur in our faces, right? Because of, not just because of the skin, but also because of the bone, the fat below it, the muscle mass, everything starts to resorb and degenerate, including the bone.
Yep.
And so like the entire building is crumbling and you have to restructure and rebuild. So I help people do that. And I believe that you just have to be a better version of yourself and not look like somebody else. And that's what I try to do.
Wow. And why?
Why? In today's day and age, I think it's very important when you look at yourself in the morning, you have to feel confident. And a big part of us is about how our skin is. Is it clear? Sometimes that one pimple will bother you. It may not bother you, but if you're going for an interview or you're going, and then you're on social media and all of this, it's so important to look presentable. It's not about having good features and looking beautiful and having a chiseled jawline. No, I'm not saying that. It's about having clarity. It's about clear skin. It's about how you present yourself, the kind of clothes you wear. Not luxury. I'm talking about crisp and nice and neat, and the way you talk. It just makes you feel more confident.
Correct.
Right? And I think that's what I want people to understand. And in today's day and age, with social media and so much out there, it's also like a jungle. People don't know what to do, what not to do, and there is too much, and people are confused. So I also want to sort of help them out and say, okay, less is more, but it is also important.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. In fact, there is this question that keeps coming up to me in the recent past, that how important is it for you to look good to feel good? I think what you're doing does kind of collaborate both of those thoughts, right? I mean, I feel it's very important to feel good and look good. I think one pushes the other.
Absolutely, they are intertwined.
Yep.
It is very important to feel confident and feel good. You
Yep.
have to also look good, because something shouldn't be at the back of your minds. Also, we're human beings. We're programmed. When a child is born, and the child is like even crawling and looking at a more beautiful picture, the child will automatically crawl towards that picture.
Yeah.
If you keep colorful fruits, if you keep a chiku and a mango, or a chiku and something which is like maybe a pomegranate, the child will catch hold of the pomegranate.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's how we are trained, and a lot of times I see how when a kid moves towards a more prettier girl, the parents say, oh yeah, abhi se. It's not abhi se, it's how we are programmed.
Yeah.
And whatever you say, of course, once you start speaking and your knowledge and all of that makes a huge difference. But the first appearance when a person walks in makes a huge difference.
Obviously.
And you don't have to be beautiful. I keep saying this. I'm not talking about fairness. I'm not talking about great features. I'm talking about how presentable are you to be confident.
Yeah, wow. Oh, that's something that I completely agree with. Because in my profession also, a lot of people come to me for aesthetics, right? Their mandate is that we want to look good. It doesn't mean that they have movie star like looks.
Yeah.
But just trying to be the best version of themselves is something that I think every human being should strive for. That's very important, because like how you are in one part of your life, kind of drips down into all other areas and aspects as well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go
also,
straight.
Also, sorry, I'm cutting you here, but it's also about self-care and self-love. How much are you loving yourself, and how much are you caring for yourself? And as you rightly said, you will put that in your profession then.
Yep. So like I was saying, I'm going to jump directly to the question that I wanted to ask you. I'm 36 now. How do I stop aging? How do I reverse this clock? Because I mean, I'm doing my best in terms of workouts and nutrition and supplementation, hydration, sleep. I'm working on these factors, but yet I am seeing myself in the mirror.
You are great for 36. Let me tell you that first of all. I think you're doing a good job.
It's the haircut, and it's today I'm not wearing any makeup, but yeah, it's the haircut and the look. But yeah, I still know what I'm seeing in the mirror is not what I saw probably 5 years back.
Correct. So as I said right in the beginning, that aging is a process. You can't sort of stop aging. You can definitely turn back the clock a little, and you can delay the process.
You've done quite a bit. Let me tell you that. Like I don't know if you want to disclose your age.
Of course, I don't mind. You can tell them.
Why don't you tell them?
Because I'm 50. I'm running 50.
And you look 5 years younger.
50 years young.
You're looking 5 years or 10 years younger than I am. So good job at that. But that speaks volumes of what you're doing, right? And like I told you on the pre-call, like it's great to have somebody who is like a living, talking version, an embodiment of what they do. It just builds so much more trust in the people that are coming to you. It shows that okay, you practice what you preach. But how do I?
So I think you're on track. Number one, it's very important to understand that it is holistic.
Okay.
Right? So yes, you need a very good skincare routine, which need not be elaborate. It has to be simple for you to be able to follow it.
Okay.
You have to be consistent. So when I say a skincare routine, I mean, do you cleanse properly? Do you moisturize not just your face, but your entire body? Because when somebody's looking at your face and saying, oh wow, and then suddenly looks at your hands and they're all wrinkled. So you must moisturize your entire body. You must make sure you use a sunscreen, whether it is indoors or outdoors. You have lights like this all the time. You're also exposing that, your skin to these kind of lights, or it could be outdoors with UVA, UVB, infrared rays, blue light, visible light, all of that. And all of that will delay will enhance the process and speeden up the process of aging.
Okay.
Right? So when you are exposed to all these kind of rays, there is a certain amount of oxidative process that goes on. That means free radicals or toxins are accumulating in the skin. And the collagen and elastin fibers, which are actually holding our skin in place, will start degrading at a rapid rate.
Okay.
And there's also more inflammation happening. So you're more prone to hyperpigmentation, fine lines, wrinkles, blemishes, sunspots, eczemas, rashes, hives, all of that.
Okay.
And so also your skin will start sagging at a faster pace. And it's not just UV rays or visible light or blue light from your laptops and phones. It's also your diet, which you understand better than me. And it's so important to make sure that you're having a lot of antioxidants, so everything which is brightly colored, fruits and salads and vegetables and less starchy vegetables and all of that. No alcohol, no smoking. Smoking is a killer. Nicotine kills the skin. It rapidly breaks down your collagen and elastin fibers.
It also kind of decreases the elasticity, right?
Fully. It brings about a lot of skin laxity. Then of course the lines will come, the crow's feet will come, the dark circles will come. So all of that. And then comes your sleep. We don't pay attention to our sleep. We think, 4 hours is enough for me, I'm very fresh. But that's not true, because when you're sleeping, the skin is repairing itself. It's regenerating itself. There's a hormone called melatonin, which we're all aware of now, which is required again for repair and regeneration and to flush out all the free radicals.
Correct.
Right? You also want your cortisol levels to sort of balance themselves. Now, cortisol is a good hormone and a bad hormone.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need a bit of it, but you don't need excess, because if you have excess, then obviously acne and hair fall and all of that, early aging and all of that happens. So you need that balance. And so you need to sleep at a particular time and wake up at a particular time in a rhythm every day. Right? So back in the day, what was happening? Our parents, our grandparents were sleeping by 10 o'clock.
Correct.
Right? And waking up early. And they were following that circadian rhythm. Now, you can't do that because of whatever our lifestyle
is completely different.
But at least make sure that if you're sleeping at midnight, you sleep at midnight every day. And follow that cycle and at least sleep for 6 to 8 hours. So every individual, their sleep cycle would be anything between 6 to 8 hours. I would need 6 hours, you would need 8, somebody would need 7. But less than that is not advisable.
Okay.
So that is another thing. Then I've talked about not having sugar, right? Now I want to talk about sugar here. I don't know what as a nutritionist and fitness expert, what your opinion is. But me being a dermatologist, my husband being a bariatric and a GI surgeon, we emphasize on the fact that when we say sugar, we say no organic jaggery and honey and coconut sugar, and all sugars will at the end of the day increase your insulin-like growth factor 1.
Okay.
That hormone increases. It will increase the process of inflammation. Whatever, however healthy your organic sugar may be, it will still behave like sugar. It will still increase your insulin levels. And so you do have, you will be more prone to acne if you have acne-prone skin. Your rosacea will increase if you have rosacea, inherit. Your process of aging will be much rapid because there's something called glycation that happens.
Okay.
Right? So when you have sugar, it binds to the protein, it'll bind to proteins, it'll bind to lipids, all of that which is there in the body. And then there is something called age products, okay? Advanced glycation end products, which will accumulate in the body, right? Typically in the skin also. When there is an accumulation of that, again, the process of degradation of collagen elastin is very rapid.
Okay.
And so your skin begins to sag and the laxity goes away, the firmness goes away, and your skin is not supple and elastic anymore. You'll get more lines and wrinkles. Inflammatory process again sets in. So all of that happens. And therefore we say, please avoid having sugar as much as possible.
Correct.
If you can stop it, nothing like it. But don't cheat yourself by saying I'm having healthy sugars, because all sugars are, you can have it in moderation or maybe really less, but they're still sugars at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right? So that is another thing that we say. So no sugar, no maida and food with high glycemic index, right? So that's again very important. So potatoes, starchy food, maybe in moderation. Maybe you can have boiled potatoes a little bit. I don't know what you have to say, but we normally say.
I'll give you my views. I'll give you my views of whatever. And I'm not here at the capacity as a nutritionist, but I like my area of understanding is a little more towards. It's not towards skin.
Yeah.
It's towards fitness, right? So there it comes to a different point. But understanding what you're saying, it's more or less of what I anyways add, right? So carbs in moderation, no added sugars, sugars in the form of fruits, adding a lot of fruits and vegetables in your diet.
Perfect.
Keeping lesser ultra processed foods, but still not going completely void or detaching from it, so that you have that tolerance towards it, so that whenever you end up consuming it, it doesn't create some kind of irritation. There's lesser inflammation. So there is some kind of
sugar.
Synergy in what we both kind of practice.
Yeah.
It's just the delivery mechanism. I don't have the technical knowledge of what you were saying. Like, I don't know how it influences the skin, but I'm understanding from you how things work.
Yeah. So we don't stop people from having fruits, right? Even if it is sugar.
Okay.
Because fruits will have so many other things. They're very, very rich in antioxidants. They're very rich in a lot of citrus fruits have vitamin C. A lot of fruits like, papaya, mangoes, papaya will have papain. Mango has a lot of vitamin A in it. Then a lot of fruits will have iron and a lot of these minerals and trace elements and magnesium and chromium. And so we do not stop people from having fruits. Now, sometimes people say mangoes cause acne. Well, if you go overboard and you're having a lot of really sweet mangoes, then that's a lot of sugar. So have it in moderation.
Okay.
So
what is moderation?
I would say like maybe a mango a day, should not cause an issue. Some people will find that if they're having that one mango a day also, they're still getting a boil or a pimple. Maybe for them, they have to cut it down. But it doesn't happen to everybody.
Okay.
And so we don't really stop. I don't personally stop people from having sugars because of, and fruits and vegetables and all the brightly colored fruits and vegetables, and obviously not things which are artificially colored or sweetened. So when you go to buy your products, you have to be very careful, and that you will tell us. So I always tell them that, listen, if you can buy something which comes from an organic farm, much better, and make sure you're washing your fruits and vegetables well. So these are the two things that you're doing. And otherwise, we also don't stop. I also don't stop them from having fruits and vegetables. So coming back to,
how to stop or reverse the clock.
Reverse the clock. We finished diet. We've talked about sleep. Exercise is very important, and that you also know. So if you're fit, the skin also behaves a particular way. It slows down the process of aging. So exercise is important, not just in terms of improving the circulation in the body, but also easing out your stress, right? And stress is directly related to aging.
Yeah.
All right. So there was a study which was done on identical twins, okay, and they saw that even amongst the identical twins, although genetics will play about 40% role in how you age, 60% is what you do, right? So when they found that out of these identical twins, one lot of them led a very healthy lifestyle, slept well, ate well, did not smoke, did not drink, and the other lot did all the wrong things. And they said, but we have genes. And then they found out that the ones who led their lifestyle
as
saints looked almost 20 times younger.
Okay.
Right. So if you say, Dr. J, you look at 50, you're looking 35 or 40, maybe 40. It's because
35.
Thank you. That's being nice. Then it's because I'm sleeping well, eating well, learning how to cope with stress. I have a lot of stress, but I will, sort of figure out how to cope with, my stress and have mechanisms like, okay, maybe I should do some music in a day. I must exercise. I must read certain books. So I must have like a nice disciplined life, a routine. Like, when I go out for dinners or movies with my family, I don't carry my phone. I do not look at my phone on Sundays.
Okay.
I will not look at my phone once I reach home. So my Instagram time is when I'm in the car, when I'm traveling. Otherwise, I'm not looking at it. So we have to incorporate a certain amount of discipline also, right? So we've said food, we've said sleep, we've said exercise, we've said stress mechanism, how to cope with it. And then I've talked about how you have your skin routine in place, wherein you are using a sunscreen without fail. And at bedtime, after the age of 35, you must start using some anti-aging ingredient like maybe a retinol or a peptide.
Okay.
If not every day, then at least on alternate nights.
Okay.
All right.
This is like an application.
It's just an application. Okay. So your skincare.
This is like a consult for me.
Yes, yes. So that little amount of skincare routine. I'm not saying do a 10-layer Korean glass skincare routine. I'm just saying moisturize in the morning, use a sunscreen. At night, make sure you use one of the creams which is, important for your skin type. Every skin is unique. Every skin is different.
Yeah.
So if you have acne, then you'll use something which is meant for acne. If you have hyperpigmentation, something for that. If you have nothing, then some anti-aging ingredient, as I mentioned.
Okay.
And moisturize. And when I say moisturize your entire
body.
So that's your skincare routine that you follow. And if you want to go a step further, then consult with your dermatologist and get all your serums in place.
Okay.
Don't want to do it? It's all right. You don't have to panic. It's not the end of the world. This will also keep your skin healthy. Now, after the age of 35, what happens? As I said, we have layers, right? We have bone. Over the bone, there's a pocket of fat. Then there is muscle. Then there is another fat layer. And then there is skin. And all these layers will degrade as we age.
Correct.
If you see, pictures, I'll show you later, pictures of the skull, a young skull versus an aging skull. You'll see how the aging skull, the eye socket has become bigger.
Okay.
The nose socket has become bigger. Okay, this has become bigger. So what happens is there's no sort of structure there. There's no support for the layers which are sitting on top. The deep fat also starts to go away. The muscle starts to becomes thin. So jo upar ka, the skin also is losing its collagen, it's becoming thin. So the uppermost fatty layer and the skin has no support. So sab kuch girta hai. So you see that everything,
the wrinkles
you see
and
the
the
wrinkles,
sagging.
You see the sagging. You see people developing jowls, the jawline is no more contoured. The nose suddenly, oh my God, I had like this very sharp nose. What happened now is drooping down because the bone has gone.
The cartilage.
I've developed under eye sockets. I'm looking tired all the time because the bone is going, right? So now no amount of cream that you apply on your skin is going to reach that level. So if you say, Doc, I've been using all the creams that you've said, and I'm still, my skin is still sagging. My skin texture is great because I'm using the right kind of creams. I don't have blemishes anymore because I've used the creams that you've given me, Doc. I'm doing everything right. I'm sleeping well, eating well, this, that, but my skin is still beginning to sag. I can see jowls. I can see my laugh lines becoming deeper. Why is that? That is because the creams are not reaching the deeper layers. And so you need to start doing some sort of treatments. after 35, which will sort of build not just the collagen and elastin fibers, but also help in building the structure, right? How do you do that? We do radio frequency skin tightening. We do ultrasound HIFU skin tightening. Okay, then we do certain skin booster injections, which are collagen injections. Today, in today's day and age, we have a lot of regenerative medicine, right? PRP, which is done for bones, PRF, okay, exosomes, polynucleotides. Yeah, there's a lot of regenerative. It's all about looking natural, not overdoing, not overfilling, just maintaining.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people go overboard with the kind of procedures that they do.
Yes.
The lips start getting bigger and bigger, and nose looks very defined.
Yeah.
But what I've seen is that there are some particular, it's very common, right? I mean, to see some features that happen in everybody. Like I see a lot of people have this part of their skin sag. I see a lot of people who have crow's feet over here, I don't know what they call it. Then having these stress lines or whatever lines, frown lines. So these are very common, right, in everybody. What can somebody do to just stop it or delay it? Yeah.
So I'll tell you what. Now these lines here which form, these are frown lines. Why are they forming? There's a muscle here called procerus and there's a muscle here called corrugator.
Okay.
These muscles, when they contract, they are forming folds in the skin.
And when we are stressed about something.
Stressed. Now, what is happening is a lot of us are on our smartphones all the time. So we are constantly looking at it, even our laptops. So our phones and our laptops, because of that, there's a lot of strain on these muscles that I spoke about. And so automatically you develop those lines.
Okay.
So you don't have to be angry or you don't have to frown anymore to develop those lines. Those lines are happening because...
Depends who's texting you or who's sending an email. That can make you angry too.
Or you're thinking a lot,
you're
looking at... And so constantly, those muscles are constantly working. And so you develop those two lines here, which make you look as if you're frowning or angry all the time. Right? So how do you start, at an early age, how do you start preventing? By being mindful. And of course, go and get your eyes checked, because if you have a number and if you're constantly frowning,
squinting or frowning,
that's a very common reason. But the other reason is that be mindful, and whenever you're reading or doing whatever, keep your phones at a certain distance, right?
Okay.
Don't keep them right here. So at least about, say, a foot, or maybe a little less than a foot.
This far?
That's a good distance.
Okay.
Right? And make sure you're not frowning when you're reading and concentrating on something. Make sure to intermittently take those breaks, right? Then comes a healthy lifestyle, which always, is important.
The foundational.
The foundation, it's always there. What you're eating, and are you exercising, you're sleeping well, and all of that. And you're not stressing, not getting angry all the time. Things are not in place. You're a perfectionist, and time pe nahi ho raha hai, today this person didn't come, or now there's no electricity, and now what the hell do I do? So we have to figure out ways to settle all those things so that you're not constantly overusing those muscles. Stay away from nicotine. That's something that I always say. Smoking is really bad, and sugar is as equally bad. So these are the two things. Use retinoids as creams.
Okay.
So in retinoids are available in the form of serums, creams. So consult with a dermatologist.
Yeah, I wouldn't just pick up
You shouldn't pick up anything on your own, because there is a way to use a retinol, and there are various types of retinols. You start from the lowest potency always, and then you step it up. Your dermatologist will guide you through how to step it up, and then reach a
dosage which is optimal,
which is really optimal for you. So that will really help.
Okay.
Then there are ingredients like peptides which really help. Vitamin C really helps. So you have vitamin C serums. Not everybody can use vitamin C.
Okay.
If you have acne prone skin, sometimes you develop a lot of acne with vitamin C, so you've got to be careful on that. Again, not everybody can use retinol. If somebody is planning to conceive or is pregnant, you cannot use retinol.
Okay.
So you need a hand, you need a dermatologist who will guide you through all this. But using these kind of things will make a huge difference. And then, as I said, post 35, small procedures here and there, vampire facial. Kim Kardashian called it vampire facial. What is it? It is PRP.
Okay.
We take blood from you, we centrifuge it, we take out growth factors, and then we inject that into the skin. Sometimes we don't inject, we use a microneedling device to infuse all of that PRP into your skin.
Okay.
So that is also preventative. So these are various ways of preventing. Of course, it will still happen, but at least you're delaying the process.
Yeah, I mean that. But I've seen like a lot of people, like there is a point in time in their life where they age really fast. Correct? Like for some it is between 45 to 50. For some it is between 60s to 65. Is there a reason why? I mean, in your area of practice, you must have noticed that there could be a reason.
Yeah.
That people have a specific time in their life where they age really rapidly.
Yeah. So up to the age of 40, most of the time, your skin and also your internal organs are able to fight all the external stressors.
Okay.
But it also depends on your lifestyle. If you have a very bad lifestyle, then 40 is too far. Then by 30, everything is degrading.
Okay.
Right? So up to that particular age, also a lot of times, as I said, genes will play a role. So
how important are genetics? Like, what is the percentage if you want to quantify that?
I would say between 30 and 40%.
Okay.
Which is a huge percent.
Yeah.
Okay. But also, if your lifestyle is poor, those genes won't work.
Hmm.
Then there is a breakdown of those genes.
Yeah.
Then your DNA is not listening to the genes. Then your DNA is listening to the external influencers which are there. So, but you can still get away.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have great genes, which I think I have, thanks to my parents, and also being so short and petite makes a huge difference. But
why does that?
That was because
I'm just asking because I'm a big. I would like to assume I'm a big guy. Like I'm 6 feet tall. I'm broad. So if I'm glad that I am. But should I have wanted to be smaller?
No, I think for me as an individual, as you said, I look 35.
Yeah.
Me being petite makes a huge difference.
Okay.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I think for guys it's not true.
Okay.
For girls it's true. Because guys can be 6 feet and still look 18. Right?
Thank God.
But a woman goes through a man also goes through, but a woman has all these menopausal and perimenopausal, and it starts menarche, then pregnancy, and then menopause, perimenopause, and then menopause. So every time we have to be a little more careful. I have to be a little more mindful that, if I am going to go overboard and have that extra piece of chocolate, I know that I'm going to put on much more than what I was in my 30s. Right? So I think that is why it helps.
Okay.
But, okay, so where were we? We were discussing
about
genes.
Yes.
Genes. So that's the genes I'm talking about. So, your genes will play a role definitely, but you can only pull it to 40, 45.
Okay.
Or even 35 if you have bad genes or if you have a bad lifestyle, 30. So therefore, you need to do everything else. The holistic bit that we talked about has to, pool in together with your genes. And if your lifestyle is bad and if you're stressing too much, you see somebody who stresses too much. I talked about the identical twins thing.
Yep.
Will start early, breakdown of that collagen will start early. And that's why you see a phase where everybody, as you said, somebody between the age of 40 and 45 is just suddenly aged.
Yeah.
39 tak to fantastic tha. Even your eyes for that matter. Like ophthalmologists will tell you, the day you cross 40, you're going to get a plus number. Literally. And that's true. Because that's how fast your retina and your all the organs around the eye are degenerating. So the process of degeneration is dependent on genes, it's dependent on your lifestyle and your stress.
Wow.
And that's why for different people it's at different ages, but it will happen.
Yeah.
It has to happen. In some it'll happen at 35, some at 40, 45, 50 max. But it has to happen.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was noticing, because as the average age of my clientele is increasing. Like I told you, I started off with just doing fitness, and then it went on to nutrition. Now it's become more of therapeutic nutrition, where I'm helping people with morbidity issues and stuff like that. The average age of my typical client, is increasing, and there I'm noticing these other issues, because earlier it was just about weight loss and it was just about muscle mass and all of that. But later on with my current clients, it's become more of, okay, I want to feel more energetic, I want to feel younger, I want to look younger, I want this to help my skin, I want this to help my overall life. And when those kind of questions come in, my assessment with them is way different now, my check-ins with them are way different now, and most of them always come with these questions eventually in the second or third consult, that okay, my skin is not so wow as I would want it to be, or it's suddenly like going down really fast.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know, how can I...
Have you ever, because as a dermatologist, I also become a shrink a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Try and find out if you can, if in your capacity, if you can find out what their stress levels are like. If they're saying suddenly in the last 2 years, I am looking older, my skin is looking older, you need to get into that. You need to tap that aspect.
I want to show you something.
Stress plays a huge role in breaking down your collagen and making you look older. Yes, please show me.
So this is something that I just sent my team today. So we have a team of nutritionists who work with other clients also. So I don't know, like I told you, things just align. A positive impact in some... See, it's one thing to do it for yourself, but you're going to be leaving this planet, and I'm not saying this to flatter you or anything, but like I'm in a similar profession, right, where you have to speak to clients about certain things, and when you have the capability, or I don't want to use the word power because it becomes a little too heavy, but when you have that capability of leaving this planet knowing that you've not just improved your life, but you've actually improved somebody else's life who's not even connected to you in a direct relationship kind of level, but you've been able to do that, and that has further trickled down into different relationships and different people's lives. How does that make you feel?
Grateful. I believe in gratitude. I feel very content. I feel that I must have done something well and good in life, and good karma. And I just feel very content, happy. It makes me happy. That andar se jo khushi hoti. It's not about name, fame, money. Wo sab to everybody wants. But this happiness is something you can't describe. It's from within. It's that feeling of contentment. That tomorrow when I die, on my epitaph, people will write good things. Right? And people will remember me for the good that I have done. Because baki kya hai?
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to go after I die. I don't know. Right? So then what are you leaving behind? You're leaving behind a legacy where people will remember you. It's only about memories.
Yeah.
And if they're good memories, that's all you want. I have teenagers. I have these, even young kids. Acne, not stepping outside, not making friends, not concentrating on studies. Back in the day, people used to think, acne is normal hai. Pimples are normal. Forget it. At least now parents are understanding that no, it is having a psychological impact on the child.
Yeah.
And you have to see how they blossom once their acne settles down.
Sure.
And how they love me. The parents come and say they love you more than us. So I feel this, I'm like, yes, because that's a good feeling. I gel very well with kids. They love it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want to tell me things that where they've come and said, Doc, I think I have a mental issue. I have certain issues. And then I am the one communicating to their parent. That listen, I think there's something missing here. We need to fix this.
Sort that part out.
And it's a nice feeling.
Obviously.
It's a very good feeling.
I read a quote, I don't know, a month back or 7-8 days back. I don't remember when. My memory is really bad now. But I read a quote that we end up becoming the person that we needed when we were kids. That struck a chord with me. We discussed something on a pre-call.
Yeah.
Would you want to share that?
Yeah.
So do you think that what you're doing right now, because I strongly believe, when I read about it, I strongly believe that I chose this as my profession because of how my childhood was, that I wanted somebody to help me, guide me. I lost my father when I was 6 years old to cirrhosis of the liver. And I've grown up on my own. And I've learned whatever I've learned on my own. I take a lot of pride in that. But at the same time, it would have been nice to have someone who would teach me things or guide me throughout the journey. And now looking at what I'm doing as a profession, there's somewhere I'm filling that role for others. So yeah, if you want to share.
Yeah. No, I also read about that somewhere, and I actually shared it with my brother and my sister, and I said, maybe this is how we are because of the childhood that we've had, And as I was telling you, my father was an alcoholic, 17, 18 pegs of alcohol a day. Hosh hi nahi hai, doesn't know where he is. He's fallen somewhere. Somebody's called, those local calls, or somebody's come and said your father's lying there. Me being the eldest child, would have to go pick him up, rescue, go to the police station at times, face all kinds of harassment. You know how it is. I was in Jharkhand, Jamshedpur.
Okay.
Harassment also from people in the society system. We never celebrated birthdays. We had to calculate the amount of food that we were having. We were all studying in a good school, all of us. So that's something that my father was amazing. He was a victim of a disease called alcoholism. But otherwise, he made sure that we studied well in good schools. My mother made sure that she was a 10th pass. So she made sure that, her children go beyond that. And it was always put in our minds that if you have education and if you can fend for yourself, and if you don't have to put your hand, in front of another person and beg, your life is sorted. And everybody will respect you. So that was stuck in my mind. And it was a very difficult childhood because there was no food to eat. There were, you had to borrow books from people. You didn't have clothes, so because you were in a good school, you couldn't sort of, go and adjust with that kind of, a crowd. I did have amazing friends, but they didn't know where I was coming from, right? So I never called them home. I could not invite them. I could not make friends. I was a complete introvert.
That was mainly because of whatever was going on at home, right?
What was going on at home.
Yeah, same.
And you always yearned for love because mom was always stressed. So, although she loved you, she never probably could show that love to you. And you being the eldest child were the responsible child. You had to take care of your brother. You had to take care of your sister. You had to do the house chores. You had to make sure that you helped mom with washing utensils, cleaning the house, getting the siblings' homework in place and their food in place. Everything. So
you grew up really fast.
Grew up like that. So sometimes dad would take us, for a movie, and he would disappear, and we'd be sitting. We'd be sitting in the first row. Every Amitabh Bachchan movie we went for. But we'd be sitting on the first row and wait for dad to come and pick us up, and he would never come back. So it was a scary life. It was always getting back from school, getting home, and then shutting all the doors and windows because you don't know if dad will come and he'll start physically abusing or verbally abusing. Not knowing what he's doing. I don't blame him. But everything went on like that. So I think because of that, I want to be there for people.
Because you know how important.
Yes, how important it is. So that's why children, I said. I gel well with children because I want to be there for them. You know, I want to help them out. I want to hear them. A lot of times you have no one, parents love you, but you have ample of money, but parents don't have time. So you want to be there. You will not fill the boots of their parents, but at least you want to be there. So I think that sort of made me understand that it's very important to empathize with people, with your staff, with your patients, with the people around you. I'm no saint. I do get angry. If my work is not done properly, I do get angry. But I try to figure out ways to, again, settle things down and make my people understand. I may yell at them once in a while because I'm human, right? But there's a very motherly aspect to the way I look at people. I will not, sometimes I do have like these last 1 or 2 years have been a little tough for me because of my perimenopausal issues. As I said, I turned 50 last year. I'm going to be 51 now in August. So I've had all those struggles, that's a different ball game altogether. But again, I feel that why is the person on the other side behaving like this? Why is this person constantly complaining? Something must be wrong with that person around their house, in the periphery, which I don't know. And that's what I keep telling my staff, that empathize. It's okay. But whatever we do, she's not happy. It's all right. Something's not right behind, And it's true.
It's always true.
It's always true. Because this one lady, and I'm like, what happened? The other day, I was like, what happened to you? She said, इतने सारे प्रॉब्लम्स है डॉक्टर जी कि मैं थोड़े बहुत पैसे इकट्ठे करके अपने आप को बहला लेती हूँ by doing skin treatments. So it just touched my heart. I called my staff. I said, please give her a 20% discount. Give her an appointment whenever she wants, because not every day is a day when she can come. So we need to empathize. We need to understand people. We need to, or if you can't empathize, at least don't be negative or mean. Just put yourself away, cut yourself. Okay, today is my bad day. So today I'm not meeting these people because I don't want to be nasty to anyone.
That's a great way to look at life, because there will be a lot of people who would come into your life and not treat you the way you would want them to. And when I say not treat, they could be nasty because they've been dealt with a lot of blows in their life and they need a vent out, or they need a place where they can remove it. And I face the brunt of it pretty often, where it's like, I'm not going to eat this or this, what are you doing? And they question my profession altogether. But then when we deep dive and we ask them, okay, what is it that is actually creating this void or unhappiness? It always trickles down to some personal issue.
Something or the other. Yeah.
And funnily, it always leads down to a lot of childhood traumas. Eventually it does. The things that they are unhappy with now stems from their childhood trauma. So
I think closure is very important. If you have childhood trauma, why is it coming in? How are you going to close that? I got that closure with my dad. He passed away in 2018. But I'm so blessed that I got that closure from him. He was a genius. He made me that perfectionist that I am. Yesterday, my sister she sent me a clip of a song, Rajesh Khanna song, Agar Tum Na Hote. And she said, Akka, do you remember this? I'm a South Indian. So she said, Akka, do you remember this? And both of us sat laughing. Why? Because Dad had put that song on a cassette recorder at least 150 times and written the lyrics, made me memorize it and sing and learn that song because he loved it. Okay. And I used to sing. I used to sing in school. Now I'm a bathroom singer, but in school and college, I used to sing. I used to win a lot of prizes. And Dad used to make sure that whatever in his inebriated state of mind, he would play that the whole. My sister, my brother, my mom, everybody went nuts with that song. Everybody hated that song because it was played so many times. But what happened? I became a master of that song, and I learned that whatever you do, you rehearse.
Yeah.
And if you rehearse, you may be the best speaker in the world, the best singer in the world, the best whatever. But if you rehearse, you are always a better version of what you could have been. So that's what Dad taught me, to be a perfectionist. Everything. He used to stitch our clothes. He used to do carpentry. He was an engineer. He would go to work once in a week. This remaining 6 days, he was drunk. But the company never threw him out because he was such a genius.
Okay.
Right? He would do my science projects, even in that state. He would teach me physics if I did not understand, or maths if I did not understand. We had in Jamshedpur during Diwali, you make these nice mud houses, and we were in bungalows, so every house had a nice mud house outside their house with a lot of toys, this, that. My dad would make sure he made like a nice 5-story with every story had had furniture inside and all. He did it with his own hands. So he did a lot. He was a good cook, So he did everything with perfection, even in those few hours of sanity that he had. And I think that's what we inculcated from him, all of us, And so, I mean, I'm grateful to him for whatever, and he loved us. So at one point, as I grew up, I realized that, I need closure, and I love my dad and he loves me. It's time I gave him a big hug, because I had never hugged him in my life.
Wow.
And so that was a moment for me. I did Landmark. It's a course. Okay. It does well for some people, may not do good for some people. For me, it did very well. And they said, call up whoever you want closure with today during the interval. Tell them how much you love them and see what happens. So I called up Dad. Dad was living with us all the time. Mom passed away in 97 when she was 47.
Okay.
So Dad was living with me. But I never had a daughter-father conversation with him. I never sat with him. I took him for, we celebrated his birthdays. We did everything that a family does. But I never sat and, Dad, I have this has happened at my clinic.
It wasn't a complete relationship.
It was not a complete relationship. But we loved each other. So that day I called him. And I went on like this. And, Dad, I really love you. And I know how much you love me. And I know how you've sacrificed your life. I mean, you never went on to remarry or anything. Although mom passed away, so you took care of us. You were a single parent. You did this, you did that. And we never looked at all of that. We only looked at one thing: you drink. Which is wrong, right? Which is completely wrong. We need to understand that they are victims and they need a lot of love and they need a lot of pampering and they need a lot of support, and they will come out of it. My dad, he quit drinking like this. Like the next day he quit drinking. It was like that. He stopped. He forgot what alcohol is. Right? So you need to give them love and pure love and understand them. So I got my closure and we had an amazing relationship after that. And I'm so lucky that happened. And I think everybody should, whatever childhood trauma, seek for closure. However, I mean, I've seen therapists. I don't feel shy in saying that I did. It's important. Today, if my son says, I want to see a therapist, I'll say, yes, I'm proud of you, my child. You should.
Yeah.
And that closure is important for every childhood trauma.
No, I think just from a hygiene perspective, like over the last 5 years, I've been to 4 or 5 different therapists just in this entire journey of rediscovering myself. Because there were these certain voids, and everybody has those voids, right? There's certain voids that I wanted to identify and fill. And even the journey of going from one therapist to the other and then the other therapist to the other made me realize that, okay, what is it that is causing me to do that? I mean, there's just so much self-discovery that happens once you decide to dive deeper and once you decide to live a complete life. I think it is very important, and especially when it stems everything. I think everybody, like Sailesh or Amit, or even they might be having their own
stories.
Yeah, stories, and each story is equally important and very impactful. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing this story, because it through this platform, through this channel, I wanted people to know that no matter who it is and how sorted their life might be, things do get tough, pretty tough, so tough that you might not want to see the next day. And still, the ability to sustain that, endure that, and then move forward from that is what makes us stronger human beings. And we need to give that message out there so that people who is probably going through something similar can take this as a learning or as an insight and not give up. Yeah, it's
very important. It's so important. So, as I told you, when we were children, my parents were both Bachchan sir's fans.
Okay.
Crazy fans. My entire family was. And so we went for all their movies.
Okay.
We sat in the front row, but we saw all his movies. And in whatever condition we saw. We were equally excited. I used to write to him from the age of 10. And I used to imagine him as my father. Okay. So I used to get all my, whatever in my mind, love and whatever affection and power and courage and everything from him.
Okay.
Right? So it was not just being a fangirl. It was more than that.
Yeah.
Because something was not fitting here. And so that was what it is. And I used to write to him.
Okay.
And every time I would get back a reply with a postcard of his, a photograph and a reply. 2-line, whatever reply. So I used to collect them. So Jitesh was Jitesh Pillai was from Filmfare. He's the editor. He's a good friend of mine.
Okay.
It started off with a patient-doctor relationship back in 2007 or something. With Jitesh.
Okay.
And I told him the story and I said, listen, I am not crazy about any actor. I don't have, because of the kind of childhood again.
Yeah.
You don't sort of
connect with all that. Yeah, I know. You don't have the bandwidth to become somebody's fan when you yourself want to become your own fan.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
So you know that because you've gone through a similar thing. And so for me, I was like, Jits, I only want to meet this man. That's it. I don't want anyone else. Okay. And then from 2008-9 onwards, actors also started coming to me. Okay. But for me, this was it. So one day, and I told him 3-4 times. Okay. So one day in 2008, he called me and he said, Jay, I want you to come to Tulip Star Hotel. About 12 o'clock. I said, are you nuts? I'm such a workaholic. So he said, come. I said, I can't leave my work and come. He said, no, there's an actor who has a rash. I said, you're mad? I don't do home visits.
Yeah.
Okay. So he says, Jay, you're going to regret this. I said, why? He said, I'm shooting with Mr. B. Okay. So I was like, okay, how many more? And so I had worn a white shirt and I had done a earlobe surgery in the morning. Blood had gushed onto my clothes. So my shirt was stained. And I'm like, okay, Cheryl, how many appointments do we have for the rest of the day? There's only Cheryl and me. I was in a small 300 square feet place, as I told you.
The Linking Road one.
Linking Road one. So she said, you have about 8 to 9 people now, rest of the day. I said, call them and cancel. I had never done that in my life. Such a workaholic, I can't cancel my patients. Even if I'm very ill, I'll work. Okay? Unless it's COVID or something where I'm passing it on to people. I'll still work otherwise. So I said, cancel. Then I'm like, now how can I go like this? Okay, I'm going to meet him for the first time.
Yeah.
Mango hua karta tha, Linking Road.
Yeah.
So I went to Mango and I didn't have money. So I called my husband. I said, now what do I do? So he said, I'm going to send you the credit card. So he sent me the credit. I didn't have a credit card. So, initially years of your life, you're still struggling.
Still figuring things out.
Yeah, figuring out. And you're still like, you don't have a lot of things in hand. So I went to Mango. I bought an outfit. I changed there. And I went to Tulip Star. And you see my luck. His clothes, something had gone wrong with his clothes that day. And for 1 hour, he did not have the clothes that he was supposed to wear on set.
Okay.
So me, he and Jitesh are sitting and chatting for 1 hour.
Wow.
And I am like, inside, is this real? Is this for real? Is this for real?
And did you tell him about the...
Of course. So I told him about the entire thing. So he laughed. I said, do you even know? He said, no, I know. Whenever I got a chance, I would read. Of course, I don't know who, what, because there are millions of letters which would come. But the signature was mine. It was legit. I would sign on that postcard that went to you. And, he writes a blog.
Okay.
Mr. Bachchan writes a blog. So I got a lot of my life lessons from that blog.
Okay.
So I told him that. And he got very excited. He said, oh, are you reading my blog every day? I said, yeah. I said, now there are people who write on the blog and you reply. But I never write because I don't know if it's you who's replying. So he says it's me who's replying.
Oh.
He says, I read those and I reply. I said, okay. Then I have a direct connect with you. Now I'm going to write. So I started writing in his blog. So he calls his blog the Extended Family, EF.
Okay.
So I actually made friends with a lot of them. I'm still friends with a couple of them. One in the US, one in Dubai, one in Kolkata. Rajesh, his daughter, is here now. So, so Kankana there, she's an actor. So 4 of them I'm still in touch with, the EF. So I started writing, he started calling me, he started identifying. He remembered that she's the same one. She's the dermatologist. And then, it sort of became a relationship, which I'm so grateful for even today. There's a lot to learn from him.
I'm sure, the amount of experience, the amount of life that he's seen.
The biggest lesson is how you can just rise again from nothing.
Yeah.
From all the deaths in the world. That's the biggest lesson that you learn. And day-to-day struggles and day-to-day, simple things like somebody said something to you and you're feeling upset about it. How do you deal with it? He says, man ka ho to acha, na ho to aur bhi acha, which his father Harvansh Raiji had said.
I remember that.
So that's something which I keep telling my son also all the time. So there's a lot.
Learnings.
I'm also
Yes. What is acne? And why does it show up? Why does it manifest?
So acne is basically a medical term for blackheads, whiteheads, pimples, these little lumps on the face which are sometimes inside, they're called nodules. Then those large pimples which are called cysts. So these are all various types of acne. Okay. It is an inflammatory skin disorder.
Okay.
Right? We have oil glands in our skin. They're called sebaceous glands. Now, they are constantly producing oil. In some people, to a lesser extent, in some to a greater extent. That's how, your skin is oily or dry or whatever. That's your genetic composition. So now, at puberty, the hormones are changing.
Correct.
And there's a lot of balance that's trying to happen. Okay, there's something called the HPA, the pituitary axis, hypothalamus pituitary axis. These hormones have to reach that and they have to settle. During that period, there's a lot of signaling that happens to the oil glands in the skin to produce more oil or sebum. Now, when that increases, there are normal bacteria in the skin glands called Cutibacterium acne.
Cutie.
Okay, the Cutibacterium acne. They used to be called as Propionibacterium acne.
Okay.
The name has changed. Don't ask me why. But now they call Cutibacterium acne. So they're normally present. But suddenly there is so much of oil that they've got food. That is food for them. So they multiply. So there's an excess of this normal microorganism called Cutibacterium, and it becomes abnormal because anything in excess is abnormal. So you have a lot of oil. So when that oil is trying to come out in its natural way, and it can't because there is too much, there's excess, you develop blackheads. You develop whiteheads. When those whiteheads are exposed to light, they get oxidized and they become blackheads.
Okay.
When there is a multiplication of this Cutibacterium acne and they feed on that oil, this whole thing becomes inflamed and becomes a pimple. When a cluster of these pimples, get together inside in the deeper parts of the skin, they form a large cyst.
Okay.
And sometimes these are on the inside, they don't burst and they become nodules. And that's how you form pimples. Now, so it's due to a hormonal change in the body, or it could be due to hormonal imbalance.
Okay.
It could be due to a hormonal imbalance in the body. So if a girl has polycystic ovarian disease, or there's hyperprolactinemia, raised levels of prolactin, hyperinsulinemia, raised levels of insulin intolerance, all of these, and sometimes certain androgen issues will lead to pimples.
Okay.
Right? Then there are aggravating factors. Okay. Chalo, females may PCOS hai. What about guys? Guys also have sebaceous glands.
Yeah.
They have more oil glands, in fact. They have more oil secretion as compared to females. So that is happening. The bacterial load can increase, and so you'll definitely form pimples. What are the aggravating factors? Food.
Okay.
So sugar in any form is
Okay.
going to increase your IGF-1, increase the inflammation, increase acne. Dairy. So milk has got whey, and the more whey there is, the more IGF-1, the more insulin,
Okay.
and therefore the more acne. In people who are genetically predisposed and in people who have acne-prone, oily skin. So if somebody has very dry skin, or if somebody doesn't have the genes in them, may not get acne, however much milk they may have, right? But otherwise, yes, dairy.
Okay.
Dairy also, because a lot of times you get the milk from lactating cows. So they are full of hormones. Then a lot of times these cows are fed with antibiotics and hormones to secrete more milk. So again, that milk that churns out is again full of hormones. And that's why dairy. Dairy by itself also will increase IGF-1. Then food with high glycemic index. The pastas and the burgers and the pizzas and, cakes and pastries and cookies and all of that.
Yeah.
Right?
So dairy, maida, sugar.
Sugar. Then comes your sleep and your stress levels. So if your stress is high, your cortisol goes up. If your cortisol goes up, it is going to send signals to the oil glands, to the sebaceous glands to produce more oil. Again, tomorrow I have a very important event, or tomorrow I'm going to meet my girlfriend for the first time. I shouldn't get a pimple. God, I shouldn't get a pimple. You will get a pimple.
Okay.
That's stress.
Yeah.
You're sending signals to your cortisol. So it's not secret. It is a scientific mechanism that's happening inside. So any form of stress will exacerbate the existing acne.
Okay.
Right? So we have sugar, we have food, we have sleep, we have stress. Then comes the products. So products which are comedogenic, which means products which will clog the pores. So we have natural openings. लोग कहते हैं pores बंद कर दो, give me something to close my pores. You have 20,000 pores on the face. They are meant to be open because you want this oil to come out naturally.
Yeah.
So don't close them, please.
Okay.
Yes, with age, the opening becomes larger because of collagen degradation and excess oil secretion.
Okay.
So that you can work on and try to reduce the size. But there are no doors and windows, which are there.
You can shut it when you feel like,
oh, you can. No. So now if you are blocking those pores with a cream or a serum or a lotion or whatever it is, which has an oil base, you're blocking it. So that normal oil is not coming out. And so everything is getting clogged. And then the bacteria are having a feast.
Yeah.
And so you're getting acne, right? So the kind of products that you use matters. You have to use, if you have oily skin or acne prone skin, you have to use oil-free, water-based, lightweight products, gel-based products, as opposed to heavy creams and oils.
Okay. So we've covered diet, the point in diet, sugar, maida, and milk. It's creams. What about stress? What about hormonal issues?
That's what. Hormones was the first thing I said. That if you have PCOS, if you have raised prolactin, if your sugar is haywire, if your insulin resistance.
Okay, yeah.
All of those are hormonal imbalances.
Okay.
And those will definitely, again, send signals to the oil glands to make more oil, make more sebum. So when you have raised androgen levels, the male hormones, automatically there will be more oil secretion and more acne.
Correct. That's why you see a lot of bodybuilders who are on steroids.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the moment you take oral steroids,
yeah,
you can have acne. So a lot of medicines, so one of them is steroids, will cause acne. A lot of B12 will cause acne.
Okay.
People don't realize that. So,
but then there is this, I don't know, it's a global epidemic that we are so deficient in vitamin B12. And we also recommend people to consume B12. So is there a cycle that one should monitor or observe?
I think you should get we now have the means of getting our blood tested and finding out our levels of B12.
Correct.
So get it in the normal range. A lot of times when I see people, they've had so much, supplemented them with themselves with so much of B12 that it's gone around above 1,000, 1,200, the range, the level. And if you have acne prone skin, you are bound to have acne with those kind of levels. So if they're in range, it's fine, right? So we've covered that. And then there are other things like friction, external things. So if I have I worked out, I'm sweating a lot and I've worn tight clothes or I have a backpack, there's friction. That's again clogging my pores. A helmet will clog my pores. A bandana will clog my pores. My hair bangs, will clog my pores. And all of that can also exacerbate your existing whiteheads, blackheads. So that's another factor altogether. So you have all these things which add on to the basic, thing, the underlying hormonal thing that is happening in the skin. So that is acne. So if you want acne to be treated, it has to be holistic.
Yeah.
You can't just go to you have to go to a dermat. Don't try things on your own. Go to a dermat, get your creams and your prescription sorted, but use a salicylic acid based face wash.
Okay.
So salicylic acid is lipophilic. It will unclog the pores. It will get into that oil and it will break that oil, remove it. Then, you can and listen to your skin. Your skin talks.
Yeah.
So today, if it's dry,
your book.
Yeah, my book. Yes. So today, if it's dry, use a water-based moisturizer if you have oily skin. But use a moisturizer. Don't say I have oily skin, so I don't need a moisturizer. Because when it's too dry, also there's a defense mechanism. The skin is very smart. The body is very smart. So there's a defense mechanism. It will say, "Arey yaar, iska to skin dry hai. Let's make a lot of oil." Bang.
Yeah.
Again, you'll get acne.
Yeah.
So use the right kind of water-based moisturizer, use a water-based or a gel-based sunscreen, use your right creams, eat right,
exercise, manage stress.
Figure out your stress. It is holistic. Otherwise, my medicines will work for as long as you take them. You stop them, your acne will come back. Then you'll say, Dr. J is not a good doctor. But or whoever. But the thing is that it is holistic and you need to understand that. And another thing, acne can happen even in your 40s. It's not a teenage problem.
Okay.
So a lot of times people come in their 40s and say, Ab kyun ho raha hai jawani? But the thing is that you have hormones.
Yeah, and for all the reasons that you've listed, it can happen anytime.
It can happen anytime.
Yeah.
It can happen perimenopausally in females. It can happen in males at the age of 55.
Wow.
Hair sprays, hair products, hair mousse, all that can give you forehead acne.
I use quite a bit of that, but I'll be a little more cautious about it. Yeah, but
probably you don't have acne prone skin, maybe. Or maybe you had, from what I see, maybe you did have. You did have. but yeah, I mean, but the skin behaves in a certain way. Also, don't forget, your diet is very healthy. So you are doing things right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I was just trying to, while you were explaining everything, I was just trying to see all the factors that could probably cause acne, because there are times in a year where I do experience a little bit more acne, during summers, for example, where
sweat.
Yeah.
Totally.
So I was just trying to analyze and understand what could be causing that, because I eat pretty well. I try to eat pretty well, rather. I exercise almost every day, manage stress, so I meditate. I have a healthy-ish lifestyle. I do enjoy the occasional drink here and there and dessert here and there. Apart from that, hormones seem to be in check. So all those other factors, like no steroids, nothing like that. So yeah.
You still have acne because of the pollution.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're outdoors a little more because of the heat. So you're sweating a lot, and so your pores are getting clogged.
Yeah.
So maybe you should use a thermal water mist now and then to get that sweat off your face.
Would sunscreen help?
And yes, of course, you must use.
I don't apply any sunscreen. I've been meaning to, and I want to integrate that into my lifestyle. It's just one of those habits that I don't have, which I know is so important, which I've heard is so important. How important is sunscreen?
I think if you don't follow any skincare, but just do sunscreen, half your battle is won. And that is the importance of sunscreen.
Okay.
You must use a sunscreen 365 days in a year, whether you're indoors or outdoors. Okay? Outdoors, why? Of course, because there is sunlight. Right? Sunrise to sunset, you need a sunscreen which protects you from ultraviolet A, ultraviolet B, and visible light, blue light, as well as infrared rays. That is the entire spectrum of sunlight. Once you're indoors, if you have windows like mine, where you have so much light coming in, UVA, 70% of UVA and blue light and visible light will penetrate glass. So you're still getting exposed to sunlight.
Okay.
You travel, I don't get any sun exposure. I travel by car. But you travel by car.
There are windows.
You have windows. So if you don't have a dark screen, which most of us are not privileged to have, your rays are still penetrating. So one side of your face will age more than the other. You notice that?
Yeah.
Because of that sun exposure that's happening on that side of the face.
Correct.
So it's very important to use a sunscreen. You work in buildings which have large glass windows. The rays will also penetrate clouds. 70% of the UVA penetrates clouds. So even on a cloudy day, you need a sunscreen. Why do you need a sunscreen indoors if you don't have balconies and daylight? That'll be your question. If you're working on a laptop for over 4 hours, then you're exposing yourself to a lot of blue light. So if it's 4 hours, it's fine. But if it's more than 4 hours,
mine is more than 4 hours,
then you need a sunscreen because you're exposing yourself to a lot of blue light.
Okay.
These lights which are there, we are always so much of shoot and all happening, and these kind of lights. Also, infrared, a combination of blue light and infrared, which is again, if you're consistently, if you're doing it for half an hour, it's fine. But consistently, if you are exposed to it, you need, a sunscreen. So when you're indoors, use a sunscreen which will also protect you from blue light and visible light. That means your ingredients are very important. So look and see if you have zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, which are physical blocks, and then certain chemical blocks, and then maybe iron oxide, which is blocking the blue light.
Okay.
Vitamin C, vitamin E, which is also blocking the blue light and the visible light. So these days, we are very fortunate. We do get sunscreens which are not greasy, which don't leave that white cast.
Yeah.
And they will have all these ingredients which will give you a wider spectrum of protection. Now, another important thing about sunscreen, the best of sunscreen, if you sweat, it goes off. And if you're outdoors, goes off in 2 hours. So you need to reapply. That's the challenge. Now,
so then is there a way where,
so what do you do?
Yeah.
So for men, since you can't keep reapplying, use a higher SPF. See, ideally an SPF of 15 is enough for us.
1.5.
1.5. If
1.5.
1.5.
I've read SPF 100 and 150 and all that.
So 1.5, SPF is protecting you from ultraviolet B.
Okay.
Skin cancer. Indian skin, we have a lot of melanin. Our color is a little dark, and that helps us fight this UVB and protects us from skin cancer. How many skin cancers have I seen in my life? Maybe 10.
Okay.
Right? When I was doing my fellowship in the US, how many skin cancers did I see in a day?
In a day?
In a day, maybe 50.
Okay.
So we are actually blessed. जो हम ये भागते रहते हैं ना, गोरे skin. Actually, we are blessed
with melanin.
So we don't age fast.
Yeah.
We don't get wrinkles fast, and we don't get skin cancer. So, but you still need a sunscreen because you have the other things of aging: the lines, the wrinkles, the pigmentation, the suntan, the allergies, and all of that. So, therefore, it is important to reapply a sunscreen. Now, if boys can't reapply a sunscreen, your SPF value that you need is 15. But if you use an SPF of 50, it will sustain you for a little longer.
6 hours, let's assume.
Maybe not 6, but maybe 3 to 4.
Okay.
So at least use that much, and then maybe you can reapply.
Okay.
Because you're not completely outdoors for over 4 hours at a stretch.
But the girls who wear makeup, how do they reapply?
So
is this becoming more like an Instagram Q&A or?
Yes. So for girls who want to reapply, I've done a nice reel on that. And how do you reapply a sunscreen? There are sunscreen powders that are available.
Okay.
So you just dab the powder. So it takes off, your sweat. Anyway, we're dabbing powder on the makeup, right?
Okay.
So I just went out and dabbed powder on my face, right? Because I was sweating.
Okay.
So you can dab the powder. So the powder sunscreen acts as a nice touch-up. And they're easily available these days. You have a lot of brands. You have Isdin, you have Color Science, you have some Indian brands, and you can just top up, and they're tinted. So they're not white. So they have a color, and they will just set really nicely, and your makeup doesn't come off.
Wow. So just as a hygiene perspective, I'm going to start using SPF 50 2 times a day. I think that should work. Once in the morning, once in the evening.
I don't think you're going to get SPF 15 anymore.
50.
50 is great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
SPF 50 2 times a day, a matte
or
version.
A gel-based version.
Yeah, or a gel-based version, yeah.
Which I shall tell you now after this.
Okay, lovely. And I think as a hygiene process. And then the thing is that what I noticed, people usually come to a dermat or any doctor is when they have an issue. Right? Something like somebody coming to me also, hey, I want to lose weight, or I have this, I have cholesterol, or I have this or that. And I strongly believe that everybody should just once.
See a nutritionist once.
Yeah, just from a hygiene perspective, so to get an assessment. I mean, a dentist, a dermat, a nutritionist, a general physician, and a blood check. I think you should just do it once every 6 months to make sure everything is working well. Because ultimately, we are a machine, right, of 13 different systems. All systems are like working together. At any point of time, any system can work in a different way, and that will then have an impact on another system, and that will then have an impact on another system. And to make sure that they are all working in a synchronized way. Yeah, so I feel that people should. What do you think about it?
I completely agree with you. Absolutely bang on. These are you've enlisted them very well, and we should all see them at least once in 6 months. It's important. For dermat, very important. The skin is the largest organ of your body, and it needs a little bit of tender care.
Yeah.
As we started off with saying, it's important to look confident and feel good. So you need a little, and there is so much of information out there that it can confuse you.
Yeah.
The product which is doing beautifully well for your best friend or your favorite actor may cause a lot of reactions on your face because every skin is unique, right? And how do you choose? Yes, we have books like, the skincare answer book, which tells you what, but it will still not be able to gauge the right kind of product that your skin will
Correct.
need. I know that, I should be using a vitamin C in the morning and a retinol at night. But which is the vitamin C that I need to use? Which is the formulation? Is what a dermat will tell you. I have people coming to me, Prateek, with a bag. And I'm sitting and I'm thinking, so doc, can I show you? It's like, yes. So there'll be vitamin C, there'll be niacinamide, AHA, and BHA has come up, hyaluronic acid, snail mucin, bakuchiol, peptides, resveratrol. And I'm like, holy Jesus, because I only use a retinol at night and a sunscreen in the morning. That's my skincare. I moisturize. That's my skincare, right? You will be appalled, right? Dr. Jaishree, aren't you using all these serums? No, I don't. So also because my skin is very sensitive, but I think this works very well for me. But they are using all of that, and either they've got acne or they've got rashes, or they're still not looking bright and the best versions of themselves in spite of doing so much.
Yeah.
Because you don't need so much.
Less is more.
Less is more. You need the right things.
Correct.
How will you know what is right for you?
Yeah.
5.5 years of MBBS, then 3 years of post-graduation in dermatology, then you become a dermatologist, and then the struggle is on because every day there's something new which is happening, so you need to keep yourself updated, so you need to constantly study.
Correct.
So that is how, we have become dermatologists, and we know probably a little more than the others, and we will be able to help you and tell you that these are the right products that you can use. And I think it's very important for everybody.
Yeah, I think the common Indian mindset is that they don't want to invest into something that they won't see any kind of benefit from immediately. But what they don't see is, like how you said, somebody will come in with a bag of different creams and all, in which they are anyways investing. So might as well invest in the ones that are recommended, that work well for you.
Yeah. That will work for you. Because you're spending time, energy, money, everything, and then you're spoiling your skin.
You're still not getting the results that you want.
Getting the results.
So you're still unhappy. So might as well go to an expert.
Yeah.
Whether it's me, you, whoever, but go to an expert and get it sorted so that you know what you're following and why you're following it.
Also, as we discussed, a lot of times you may miss out something that's going inside your body.
Yeah.
So once in 6 months, what's the harm in seeing a dermatologist? The dermatologist might pick something. In the West, it happens. Why? Because they have so much skin cancer. So they have regular skin checks.
Over here,
but since we don't have skin cancer, we take it very easy.
The worst that happens over here with skin, the worst or the best, I don't know. Like the thing is, we get pimples or acne, and then we're like, oh, is it going to leave a mark?
Yeah.
That's all.
That's a hyperpigmentation in older people, in more mature people, hair fall, and that's all that happens. But that could really, sort of bring down your confidence.
I want to ask you a question. Can you reverse hair fall? Like, can you grow hair? Once you start balding, there's male pattern balding and all those things, right? Once that process starts, can you stop it and reverse it?
If you start early, you can. So there are various grades of hair, male pattern balding. So there are various grades of male pattern balding, Ludwig scales. So you have grade 1 to grade 10. So if you start at grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, even up to grade 4, you can reverse. But you have to be prepared to be able to use minoxidil.
Okay.
Right? It's a US FDA approved drug. A lot of people are scared because they say the moment you stop minoxidil, the hair fall restarts, which is true. Because minoxidil can only push your hair into the anagen or the growing cycle and keep your hair there.
Okay.
When you stop it, your hair, because it's a genetic thing, it will again go through that cycle and again it will start shedding.
Okay.
So if you're using minoxidil, you have to use it for life. Right? So there's no harm.
Yeah, you're preserving your hair follicles.
So use it. But a lot of times people don't want to use it. Sometimes people have headaches with minoxidil.
Okay.
So then there are a lot of these newer alternatives which have come now, which are available. Redensil, Capexil, and tretinoin, and a lot of things, which are not as good as minoxidil, but they will still help you to a certain extent.
Okay.
Then there is finasteride. Okay, finasteride is a drug. It's a DHT blocker. DHT is that hormone which, testosterone, which basically will push your hair into the shedding phase, and your hair will keep falling. So that's why the male pattern or androgenetic, andro is androgen. So these DHT blockers are very, very effective.
Okay.
There will be reversal. There will be new hair growth.
Okay.
But 1% of people have loss of libido. Now, people say, oh, 1% is huge, but 99% are not. Right? 99% are benefiting. So if you take it and do not read about it and don't let it get into your head, because a lot of times loss of libido is a psychological thing also.
Yeah.
But if it is not, and if it is medically really creating that issue, just stop taking the drug. You'll be back to normal. It's not a permanent loss. Right?
Okay.
So if you fall into that 1%, but otherwise you fall into that 99%, you can reverse the loss of hair. Everything grows back. But all of these will happen in your initial cycles. If you really become bald, then you will have to resort to either a hair transplant or, maybe those wigs and topis and stuff like that. Now, we also do a lot of PRP, PRF, ACP.
I was just going to ask you that. Like, there are these new treatments that I've been hearing about, and I'm like, does it actually work? Because whatever I've studied till now just leads me to a direction that once you lose hair, it's not something that you can grow back. I mean,
so
obviously, like after the initial stages.
Yes. If you catch it in the initial stages, you will be able to, with all these treatments also, reduce the hair fall, and to a certain extent, there will be hair regrowth. Will never be 100%.
Yeah.
Maybe you will regrow your 50-60%, and you can delay the process. See, nowadays, Pratik, earlier male pattern balding was after 50.
Yeah.
Nowadays we see at 17.
17?
I'm seeing at 17.
Oh, wow.
17, 18 kids are coming with male pattern balding.
Okay.
Right? A lot has to do with the lifestyle and with pollution, stress, everything, food, everything, right? So then you don't want that child to sort of suffer for those many years.
Yeah.
Then you give him medication. So you push this whole thing by at least 10, 20 years. But you can't, after that it has to happen.
Yeah.
So that's about male pattern balding. But a lot of times hair fall also happens due to other reasons, right? Nutritional, stress, some illness, surgeries,
My sister
trauma.
had alopecia. So
That's an autoimmune disorder.
Exactly. So, but she managed to grow it back.
Yes. So all these other conditions, you can grow back hair 100%.
Yeah.
Pregnancy. But if it's female pattern balding or male pattern balding, you don't grow back 100%, and the process is on, as you rightly said. The struggle is on, so you have to be at it. I'm always going to use minoxidil. I'm always going to take the finasteride. I'm always going to take all the vitamin supplements, not just biotin.
Yeah.
Because people think
the
biotin.
First thing people buy is biotin. Biotin, then the second thing is collagen.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, now we're sorted.
And we know that it's not enough, because you need vitamin A, B, C, D, E, you need iron, you need magnesium, you need selenium, you need proteins, you need everything for hair. So you need all of that. So if you're doing all of that and figuring out your life and not stressing too much, I think you can still save what you have.
Yeah. I just remembered a funny client story. Would you want to share a funny client story? I'm sure you must have come across quite a bit of these.
I will not. I mean, there's.
You don't need to name, but like,
No.
Or it doesn't need to be funny, or any impactful story.
I'll tell you a thing about how we maintain privacy in the clinic. So I had this couple who were coming to me for years. All right. And one day they came charging to me. You didn't tell me he comes to me. You didn't tell me she comes to me. I'm like, it's your choice.
So they were not aware that the both are coming.
Both are coming to you. To me.
Oh, wow.
So one was coming for hair and the other was coming, the guy was coming for hair, the female was coming for skin. And one fine day, somehow, they discussed, and this guy said, I think, the female told the guy that I think you're getting a lot of wrinkles. You need to see my dermat. So he said, no, I have a very good dermat because my hair, you see how my hair is. She's like, no, but your dermat is not even looking at your wrinkles. Obviously, your dermat is not good. Okay, so both are having this argument. She's saying, sorry, my skin is glowing and I'm like this and I'm like this, and soon I'll look like your daughter, and look at this, you have to come to my dermat. Okay, so then cut to, he said, okay, fine, I have to listen to my wife. So he said, okay, take an appointment. So she's taken the appointment and they've reached here. And he's thinking, isn't this my dermat's clinic?
Well, they don't talk at home. Usually they should be sharing. Yeah.
Sometimes women will not.
Yeah.
Because they don't want the husband to know that they've done so many treatments.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, some women. But this was a very funny thing. They both landed up here. And then they started. And then she's like, why did you see his wrinkles? I'm like, but, I'm not the kind who will say, you have wrinkles on your face. If I feel you're looking presentable and decent, I'm going to leave it. You come to me for hair, I'll treat you for hair and send you off.
Not here to keep selling services.
I'm not here to sell things. So I'm like, I told her, I said, you know me. You know how I don't sell things.
Yeah.
And it became such a funny thing, that every time I see them, we sit and laugh at that thing that for almost 5 to 6 years, we had kept that a secret, that husband and wife are coming to me. That's a funny thing, yeah.
But what are I wanted to ask you this also, what are I don't want to know names, but what are the top things that celebrities come here for?
Acne.
Okay.
That's the most common thing. Poor things. They have makeup all the time. They have stress. That one pimple, because of these HD and whatever cameras, it just amplifies and looks like a mountain on their face. Acne is the most common thing. Most common. Pigmentation, ye wo sab to chup jata hai. With makeup you can hide. But if you have bulges on the face and those bumps on the face, so that's the most common thing. And it's also something that keeps happening to them. Both, all genders.
Because they're exposed to it so
much.
All
genders, because they're exposed to pollution, dust, prosthesis, all these things that they put on their face, and they for whatever characters they play. That's number one. The number two is hair fall. So they are normal human beings, yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to know,
And no, you know it. Yeah. You know it. You deal with a lot of celebrities, but I mean, I'm saying this for people that actors are also normal human beings. They also have normal issues, and maybe exaggerated normal issues.
Yeah.
Like exaggerated acne and more hair fall issues. And then they will, of course, come for skin tightening, for maybe a mole removal.
Okay.
Maybe lines on the neck. Maybe
this, like I told you, this is something that a lot of girls get.
Yeah, crinkly. Yeah. Where that is why the emphasis on whatever you are putting on your face, make sure you apply on your neck as well.
It's always here.
You just do this and then you leave this. And that's why it's very important. Whatever you apply on your face, please apply it on your neck as well. So yeah, skin tightening is important for them, right? You don't want.
Yeah.
So A, the camera is not forgiving. B, people are not forgiving.
Yeah.
People want
to find flaws.
The actors to look. Yes, they want to find flaws. They want the actors to look a certain way. And if the actor doesn't look a certain way, they're trolling the actor. And if the poor actor has gone and done something, they're trolling the actor. So it's very, very, it's a mean world.
Yeah.
And so whatever I do a very, I keep it very subtle and natural. I can't name my clients, but you can look at me. I keep it very natural.
Yeah.
I have stuff on my face, yes. I will not deny it. I have done my radio frequency skin tightening and my HIFU skin tightening. I do something called Profilo every 3 months, which is a skin booster injection that is given into the skin to normally stimulate your collagen, to produce normal collagen. So I haven't gone into the filler path, although I love fillers. I am an international trainer for fillers. Fillers have to be done right.
Yeah.
They have to be done right. That's it. So don't get scared because you see such horrendous faces, overfilled faces, pillow faces, big duck lips. If you do it right, Yeah, sometimes I make fun. I'm like, I make fun of these friends of mine, like, for example, somebody's there in UAE, and I'm like, why do you fill so much that first the lip walks in and then the person walks in? Why do you do that? So they are like, but Jay, that's the trend here.
Yeah.
And the women like it like that. So, theek hai bhai, what can you do? But that's not the trend that we should follow. I think we should just look like better versions of ourselves. And do that little. See, with age, the upper lip is going to become thin. With age, the nose is going to droop down. With age, your under eyes are going to look hollow and tired. And whatever you do, you look tired. Okay. So putting in a little bit of under eye filler, little bit, not over. Again, don't overdo and make them look bulgy, right? Go to the right person who will know that, okay, this is it. Thoda sa dalna hai. A little bit in the upper lip, which has become thin and it's rolling inwards with age, right? I have fillers in my upper lip.
Yeah.
I'm 50. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Does it look like a duck? No. I can proudly say no. Right? Why? Because if you look at my previous pictures, my upper lip was thin. Okay. And it's thinning with age because my bone and my entire structure is
changing. It's maturing rather.
Yeah.
That's how.
Sometimes with age, because your bone support goes off, your nose starts to droop down. So you can put in a little filler to bring it up. You can develop those jowls. So you can put in a little filler here to bring it up. Do it the right way. Otherwise, don't do it.
Obviously, I mean, it has the potential to improve, enhance, or destroy completely, like we've seen with certain celebrities. And that is
why, Prateek, I always say that you can get a Lamborghini and give it to a bad driver, or give that Nano and give it to a good driver.
Yeah.
It's about the driver and the chef. And similarly, it's about the injector or the doctor.
Yeah.
So look at the qualification. Don't go to quacks. There are plenty of them. And also, apart from the qualification, what is the aesthetic sense? Because this is a blend of science and art. It's not just science. I may learn to do fillers in a particular way. I'll teach you and I say, listen, you need to put 1 ml here and 0.1 here and, not 1 ml here, but 0.1 here and 0.1 here and 0.1 here. But if every face doesn't need it, it doesn't need it. So that understanding.
That skill is only in the right
when you have that aesthetic sense, when you are a creative person, when you are an artist, you can treat eczemas and psoriasis, but if you're not an artist, you can't create good faces, natural looking faces.
Yeah.
You will create faces which look similar. Everybody looks.
Yeah.
I use that in my slides where every face looks the same. Every emoji looks the same. So you're emojified because there are no expressions, because there is exact amount
the same
of
technique.
The same. There's exact amount of Botox, so all your expressions have gone.
Yeah.
And don't do that.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect. This was great. This was such a good talk, so informative for me. I'm definitely leaving a lot wiser in terms of my skincare routine. I mean, we've just discussed the surface of what you do. I mean, I saw the machines outside and there is just so much more that I would want to ask you about, but obviously people wouldn't know or relate to that. But thank you so much for your time. And
my pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us over to your clinic because of whatever logistical issues that we had. But this has been such a good talk. And thank you.
I'm so glad.
Thank you for sharing your story also with us. For all our listeners on different platforms, at the end of our talk, we do ask them to follow us, like our entire platform, share it, because the more they are doing that, the more they are engaging with us, the better our channel is getting, the better our platform is getting, and we are able to connect with good people like yourself. I remember like a year back or 6-8 months back when we started off the entire podcast, we did it between friends and families, and now we are getting connected to really skilled professionals like you, so that we can get the message out there of things do get tough. Like I told you, things do get tough and things will always be challenging, but eventually we just have to be consistent.
Yeah.
Whether it's in our diet, whether it's in skincare or in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So well said, so well put. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. As I told you, when I watch your podcasts and listen to them, there is so much depth and reality in them that I just love them, and I wish you all the best. And I'm going to come to you for nutrition.
Thank you so much. Oh yes, I would love that. But yes, this was great.
And thank you everybody